It's a battle for the ages. Millennials, Gen Z, and the news on News Classroom.
Hello, I'm Steve Bowers.
I'm Steve Beverly, and you are enrolled in another session of News Classroom.
Coming up, students and faculty gather to discuss recent allegations regarding Cesar Chavez.
Welcome to Update News. I'm Tan Oh.
And I'm Alyssa Ramirez. Students and faculty gathered earlier this week to bring about sentiments towards recent allegations regarding Cesar Chavez.
As far as his latest statement, Trump was last seen reciting a passage from the Old Testament in the Oval Office. Reporting in San Jose, Cesar Maya, Update News.
For years, television has tried to attract a younger audience. But today, the younger audience is more likely to be attracted to the next podcast.
Now, it's not just the entertainment side of TV that goes after people who are under the age of 50. It's the same thing with news. In the last 15 years, the average age of a television news viewer has continued to grow older.
In fact, Steve, when you look at the stats, the average news viewer now is 61 years of age. So where are we when it comes to young people and their interest in news? In this next half hour, we're going to take a look at millennials, Gen Z, and the news.
First up, what's the story with the next generation of journalists? Do they have the same zest for reporting as people have in years past? Now, we are told that fewer young people are wanting to go into media as a career.
Of course, we still have universities and colleges that are turning out journalists who want to take the next step in their life and help save the world.
The battle to save the Coyote Creek Trestle continues. Neighbors of the trestle are working to preserve part of San Jose's history. In San Jose, Sophie Cipriano, Update News.
Santa Clara University is making a major investment in artificial intelligence, thanks to a nearly $25 million donation.
A new AI center is taking shape, designed to connect students directly with the technology shaping their future careers.
Even in your daily life, even inside of school, I know a lot of people who use it for therapy or daily conversation.
This new center at Santa Clara University could play a key role in preparing students for what comes next. The question now, how those students will choose to use that technology. Reporting from Santa Clara University, Omar Fuentes, Update News.
And we have with us one of the most familiar faces of San Francisco Bay Area journalism, a man who's been a friend of mine for many years, and that is Kevin Wing. And Kevin, we are so delighted to have you on News Classroom.
Steve, my pleasure. Nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Well, Mr. Bowers is going to come up with the first question, and then we're going to hit this road about Gen Z in journalism.
Okay.
Kevin, at this point in your life, what prompted you to get into this kind of instruction with these young prospective journalists?
You know, I had an opportunity. This is actually my second time teaching. I actually dabbled in it about 9 or 10 years ago at my first college in Fremont, California, which is here in the Bay Area, Ohlone College. I had an opportunity to teach journalism there and be the advisor of the college paper, which I wrote for when I was there. So it was just an opportunity that I felt that I couldn't pass up at the time. And like then, this opportunity at San Jose State, in addition to still working in television news here at our NBC station in the Bay Area, the opportunity for me came along a couple of years ago for San Jose State, where they needed a new advisor eventually for the television newscast program, and to also teach journalism, print and broadcast writing. So I love teaching the those who are aspiring to get into journalism. It's very enlightening, and at the same time, I just find it very rewarding to be able to give back to them what I've learned over the years from my colleagues I've worked with, my bosses, my mentors. It's just something I feel like I needed to do.
We are in whirlwinds as far as local journalism is concerned in every facet of it. So what is Gen Z telling you is their motivation for getting into the field?
Well, there are a lot of them who probably want to get into it for the wrong reasons, as I've seen over these last several years of teaching, right? And but there are also others who are very genuine as far as they believe in journalism, they believe what it stands for, and that it's necessary. I also try to do my best to help them to understand that it's a very competitive industry, no matter what avenue they end up going toward. And to compete with everyone else, they've really got to be they've really got to be at their best.
How aware are they of the challenges now that ownership changes can dictate changes in direction? We've got networks that build around finding an audience and getting out in front of it, as we used to say, but that it's not just pursuit of truth and accuracy. There's a whole other dimension to the world now.
Oh, you're exactly right, Steve. I would, to be perfectly honest, they haven't reached that level yet. They're not aware, I believe, of all of those all of the changes that are going on in the business. Ownership changes and philosophy changes, and in news departments, and how companies own and operate them. They're probably not aware of that just yet. These are some of them are 18 years old, some are 19, 20, 21 years old. So through what I teach at San Jose State, I try to also portray what I'm teaching in a very realistic sense, what they can expect or what they could expect if they decide to go down this road and one day join all of us in the business. But yeah, I think they still see the idea of entering journalism, in particular broadcast journalism, with rose-colored glasses on.
Every year, hundreds of future Spartans visit campus to see if San Jose State is the right fit. Coming to SJSU isn't the only thing future Spartans look for. Students also look at clubs and classes available. The question is, do they join? Jose Gonzalez joins us live with more.
Alyssa, that's right. Future Spartans gathered right here on Saturday on Tower Lawn, taking tours around the campus and learning more about SJSU. But is Admitted Spartans Day a win-win for both students and organizations?
Future Spartans admitted to SJSU had a chance to see the campus this past Saturday. The event, known as Admitted Spartans Day, takes place every April. At the event, future students had the opportunity to get a tour of the campus and see what SJSU has to offer. The campus radio station, KSJS, was one of many organizations at the event.
Well, it's been great since it was actually started. It's a great event to showcase and to actually make new students welcome and understand the scope of what the university is, right? Even if they don't join the station, they know it exists.
Others at KSJS say this is a great opportunity to get to know people, but also to get people involved with the station.
We had the cool music playing. We were playing a lot of pretty much what we play normally, all of our cool underground music. And people were curious, and that's what we want.
How important is it for them to have that platform with something that is a tangible newscast?
Well, it's very important. they need to, as part of what we were just talking about, the competition that they're going to face, once they're out there in the real world and decide that they want to do this for a living. What we teach at San Jose State is a very realistic television newscast. So I'll certainly go all the way back to the time when I was a student on Update News many years ago, and my advisor at the time was Darla Belshi, and she was the advisor for 25 years. Our newscast is not just as realistic as it can be, but I also want it to be the kind of program, the kind of newscast that is also up to par with what is going on out there right now in the business. And with that in mind, I'm hoping that I can familiarize my students with the industry.
Kevin, what's your impression of this generation?
Good question. I think they're bright. I think they have a lot of potential. And those who are in my classes and in the newscast program, they know what they want to do in life, from what I can tell. Especially those who are so uber focused that this is what they see themselves, getting into one day, television news. At the same time, I try to remind them that, it's not just television news, but, we're moving more and more these days toward, our audience getting their information online, whether it's on their laptops or tablets or on their smartphones. That television is still a part of it, but it's become so much more varied. So I'm inspired by them, the students, this generation, the new generation, the youngest generation, I guess, by their intelligence. I just want to be sure that whatever I can do, that I can help them to harness all of those smarts and the intelligence that they have in the right way.
I'm going to ask you to pull out your crystal ball for just a moment, and I know that for all of us, it's about as accurate as the next fellow, but I'm going to ask you, where do you see the entire profession going?
I hope that, I really hope that television news doesn't go away, that television doesn't go away, for that matter. I'm a child of the 70s and part of the 80s, right? And I grew up on television like both of you did, and I really hope that all of the modern technological innovations that are happening every day in this industry won't totally replace television. So my rose-colored glasses, crystal ball perception of this, I guess, would be, I hope in 25, 35 years that television is still around and television news is still around. And I certainly want to do all I can in my teachings to somehow make that happen.
Well, it's been a delight to have you with us and to share your thoughts, and also because you're seeing the new generation, the next generation right there almost every day, and getting them prepared for a field that we all three here have enjoyed so much during the years. Kevin Wing, thank you ever so much.
Thank you, Steve. And Steve, thank you as well.
Right. Good to see you.
It was a pleasure to talk with both of you.
So if we have a new generation of journalists, the question becomes, who's going to watch them? We'll talk about that next on News Classroom.
A flu vaccine now can save a lot of misery later. Older adults, young children, or those with certain medical conditions are most at risk for severe illness. Protect yourself from flu's worst symptoms. Call the Jackson-Madison County Regional Health Department.
This is your West Tennessee Today Evening News. I'm Chloe Bitters.
It's not the same today. Let's take a look at some figures. At the start of this century, the median age for local news viewers was 48. That was across the nation. Today, it's 61 years of age. The average news time for local stations in the year 2000, the early evening, was a half hour, usually at 6. Now, the average time is 2 hours, as stations try to reach viewers that are commuting home at various half hours.
In the last 4 years, the number of car crashes while people are using cell phones is up 28%.
That young generation of 25 to 35 age viewers, the ones that newscasters had targeted for years, that generation has left television news in droves.
State Senator Ed Jackson and State Representative Chris Todd are co-sponsoring the bill. Both lawmakers have had numerous inquiries about the possibility of removing a school board member.
The cell phone and online media, now the dominant tools for information with college graduates.
The Barber School in Jackson has been closed over financial aid issues. Students showed up this morning and found out the building locked on Carriage House Drive.
Jill Manuel has been a top news executive in Cleveland, California, and Chicago, more than 20 years leading television news departments. Yet her 24-year-old daughter surprised her with a stunning comment about how the new generation feels about news and information.
And now she is trying to help these stations and other executives in the public relations field make a transition to the digital age. She's also, I'm trying to get all of this out in one time, she is also the publisher of a newsletter called The Trust Shift, in trying to deal with how people gain trust today in media. Jill, with all of that being said, so nice to have you with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the invite.
I want to get started here by asking you about your daughter, because you did this column for LinkedIn, and I found it fascinating about the fact that she said that people her age, she's 24, and that people her age don't trust anybody wearing a coat and tie, myself included, and also said that TV news, as we have always known it, is just too much part of the noise of media today. How did you regard that, considering the fact that you've spent all these years in TV news?
And also, don't forget, she grew up with someone who spent all these years in TV news. So, if anyone who's worked in the business for a long time, their kids are there through all the breaking news and through watching newscasts. And so if anyone would have picked up a legacy habit, it would have been my daughter. But it's quite the contrary. And so I remember the moment so distinctly. It was 2003, it was June, and the Titan sub had just exploded. And my daughter was, she was on her phone and watching, all these people, and I go, what are you looking at? Show me what you're looking at. Turns out she was on TikTok, and she showed me these creators that were talking about the sub disaster, and they were doing every aspect of it. And she had a couple that she really liked and that she really listened to. And that was the first time I really realized that there was this whole other world going on, parallel to legacy news. And so at that point, then I asked her to share with me, okay, tell me about why, why do you watch these people? And she said, you know what, Mom, I don't trust anybody with a tie to tell me what I need to know. So 3 years ago is really when I embarked on this quest to really understand what is going on here, and then also to help legacy news organizations understand it, and then help them, kind of make that turn. And it turns out that now everybody's talking about this. Everyone's talking about, the trust that has migrated from logos to individuals. And also then you see all this data, like, the Pew data and Gallup data with, trust, down under 30%. And Pew data is showing that, Gen Z, which is 30 and under, they trust creators more than legacy. How, as a legacy news organization, how do you make that turn? And how do you start making money off this? Because, legacies, has been making money on advertising on their linear product. So there are so many things to talk about, but that's really the moment that I went on my journey.
Jill, in looking at that conversation with your daughter and those insights, can linear adapt and attract those viewers, or is that a dead end game out here?
That I think is the $6 million question is, because I think the short answer is no. I mean, I think the short answer is my daughter will never watch a linear newscast, but she will watch, journalists on social media that are creating content in vertical video. So my newsletter that I published today, I have 6 examples of people that are doing this, that are building trust in the vertical video space, because that really is how my daughter and her, all her cohorts and people under 30, that's how they're getting their news. And by the way, they're not seeking news out. What they're doing is it's coming to them. So that's a different dynamic than I'm going to sit down, I'm going to make an appointment and watch a linear broadcast. So, I think there's still an interest in journalism. There's still an interest in finding out about the world, but it's just not going to be watching a linear newscast.
What is the reaction of station executives when you work with them on trying to move them and to shift them into this direction of TikTok and the other sources that younger people are going to? What's their reaction, particularly if they're people who have been in the industry, say 25, 30 years or longer?
You can still be a good journalist and be on these other platforms. I think that's really where the disconnect often is when in these conversations about, vertical video. It's like, well, these creators, they're just stealing our content. But so what really has to happen is, like, let's say local broadcasters, they need to be in every platform and treat every platform equally, even though right now the money's not being made on your legacy your money's still being made on your legacy platform. That's really the economic model, is really what I think is preventing people, news organizations and local broadcast companies from really going all in. I think the only TV stations that tried a digital paywall, they've abandoned that, because, I think that your audience is expecting to get content for free because they've always gotten it for free. They've gotten your TV newscast for free. They got your web content for free, and now your social media content for free. So there's got to be not only, new ways of creating content and new structures in newsrooms, there's got to be new ways to sell this content, new strategies around, kind of, should we do Instagram subscribers, or, there's a lot of ways that can be utilized, but so it's got to be the whole organization working together to create these new frameworks that enable robust content creation on all platforms. If you're tweeting, like live tweeting a board meeting, if only 10 people are accessing it, or, if the metrics aren't there, maybe you need to reevaluate what you're doing. So, I'm a big proponent of data-driven decision-making, particularly in digital platforms, of course, using data to help you understand what people are interested in, and then how do you drive strategies that make that happen?
There's one thing that we can safely say is that this is an industry that is going to change every day, and you can't stop it. It's going to keep doing that. And Jill Manuel is right at the forefront of that. And so, Jill, we thank you so much for your time. Her newsletter is The Trust Shift, and it's most interesting I recommend it highly, and you can also see her on LinkedIn quite often as she tells us in detail more things that are happening about what we've discussed here today. Jill, thanks ever so much. I hope we can do this again.
Thanks again for inviting me.
They used to watch the local news every night at 6. They loved to see the anchor teams and get their nightly fix. They were age 18 to 49, the ones the sponsors craved. They'd watch the weather and the sports, and everybody raved. But now the young ones have gone away. They've left the TV scene. It's now TikTok or Instagram. Their information screams. The ones who run the stations now seek answers that they lack. What can the news or TV do to bring the young ones back? If it's not an arrest or a street protest, interstate wrecks, or the heat index, if live and late breaking won't get them in the fold, are the last news watchers the folks we call old? Give us a sign before we lose. How can we save TV news?
Remember, when news breaks out, we break in.
You did this business nearly 30 years. You retired 5 years ago. Was it the same when you hear about California, when you think about it now, was it the same when you were there, or had you seen changes coming over those 30 years?
Well, I'll say this. Kevin Wing, who is the professor of the group at San Jose State, is doing a brilliant job, and he's sending some wonderfully talented young people into the profession. The last 3 years that I was at Union, I shifted us more away from the traditional 30-minute newscast into online journalism, in which we did, some days the newscast might be 5 minutes, some days it might be 8 minutes. We were also taking Facebook Live out into the community whenever there was, say, at times a crime story, or if there was an important school board meeting, etc. We were going live with that. As long as there's still television newscast as we know it, we are still going to be preparing them how to do a half-hour newscast. But I think we also have to prepare them for the generation that has gone away from TV news.
Well, that's going to be the challenge out there. And, I think, we came out of that coat and tie generation, and I don't know what's out there right now. I still think the coat and tie has a place, Steve, and the traditional look of television news. There's obviously different methods of communicating out there that we're going to have to adapt to. And listen, Jill, I think we all sense the challenge out there. I just am not empowered yet to say, okay, this is where this is going to be, and this is how people are going to be able to make a living doing this business.
Well, Steve, I'm hearing the bell. I'm hearing the bell. Okay. And I know we could go on a long way. I'm hearing the bell, and that means the end of this session of News Classroom. And I hope you all maybe will come up with some answers for these questions we've had. I'm Steve Beverly.
I'm Steve Bowers. Join us next time for the next edition of News Classroom.